Dear Grace, I'm going to go back to an old movie idea I had years ago that I stumbled upon, and I'm going to edit and read it out to you. You can call it a sleepy bedtime story if you want. I haven't eaten for 3 days. Been on a fast, only water. Technically any clear liquid, just nothing with solids in it. Water, tea, coffee, basics. No milk. Nothing that'll come out the other end, basically, Grace. If that's the way you want to put it. Forcing me to be blunt. And it takes about 3 days to get everything out of your system, in case you're wondering. Probably not. However, I think I've decided that I'll probably just keep fasting till you and I see each other again, because I've lost my appetite for food. Dear Grace, the angry, autistic dictator. A movie idea. Number 1. By the way, Grace, normally I get smarter when I fast, so we'll see. I think there's also a possibility I get dumber, but I just think I'm smarter. If we get to day 5 or 6 and I'm starting to sound pretty weak, let me know. Well, chances are I won't, because I have more energy today than I have had for a long time, which is a problem with fasting, and a good thing. It's excessive energy. Number 1. The angry, autistic dictator. And movie outline. Number 1. The starring role, my role, is the son of a dictator in some non-descript Asian country, but not North Korea. I'm envisioning a more tropical country like Indonesia to film the movie. Maybe the Java province. But I also like the idea of a small island environment, but one single big island, not thousands like the Philippines or Japan. I think you can see, Grace, where some of my other movie ideas or crazy ideas come from. I don't know why I keep having this island in everything I write. Regardless, number 4, regardless, the audience will likely associate the scenario with Kim Jong-un anyway. I'm a bastard son, which is a tired plotline in movies, but needed to explain my whiteness. I'm half Asian and half white. My mother is some unknown woman and does not play a role in the movie or plotline. I'll use makeup and contact lenses in the role, old school acting, no facial CGI. Maybe the entire set of the movie will be CGI, or maybe I'll only hire porn stars as the other actors. The story is the same regardless of my fictional family heritage. Number 11. Sex sells in movies, so the dictator, my father in the movie, will be addicted to sex. Or at least a man who's never refused sex by his wife or mistress, or nearly anyone he desires, if they wish to continue living. Typical dictator behavior. This isn't really starting out as a comedy there, Grace, but we'll get there. The movie will open with my father explaining his recent terminal cancer diagnosis to our large family. Sorry, I'm on comma patrol today, Grace. So if you're only listening and not watching, I'm sure you can hear the keyboard in the background. Me sipping my water bottle. Number 12. The movie will open with my father explaining his recent terminal cancer diagnosis to our large family. Another cliche, but again, saves me, the writer, time, as almost everyone on the planet has been affected by cancer in one way or the other. His real wife and all my stepmoms pretend to care. They don't. 13. It's going to be really long, by the way, Grace. So if you need a big, long sleep, this will be the one. I assume I don't have to say sleep anymore, because I don't like saying sleep. Don't like saying grace either, but I have no choice. 13. The timeline begins as my father's nearly 100 and I'm 55. 14. Throughout the movie, I only wear black t-shirts. Easier to film, no wardrobe changes. It's actually harder to film, but I don't care. I won't be the director of photography, not my problem. I'm in a wheelchair, not paralyzed, but disfigured and without the use of my hands, in any traditional fashion. Boy, this is about 5 years old, at least. Used a lot more commas back then. In the wrong spot, but my hands look normal, but do not function. I was 16, 17. My condition was the result of a motorcycle accident in my teen years. Or a teenage motorcycle accident. '18. My father instantly banned motorcycles in our country. '19. He's a rash man, quick to decide, and never reversing a decision. 20. At some point in the movie, a flashback occurs, showing my father flying in medical experts from around the world to fix me. A scene will show them shows them arriving in a fleet of our private jets, all painted blue, the royal family color, but none can solve my condition. But none of the experts, in quotation marks, can solve my condition. Not even Grace can solve my condition. 21. I intend to play multiple roles in the film, but I will not play my father's. 22. However, I will also play Mike, my only companion. It's my first movie, so why not act multiple roles? More money for me. 23. Mike is a computer geek, a nerd introduced to me by Elon or Elon Musk, either of them. Elon was hired by my father to see if his Neuralink technology could give me a new lease on life, but it failed. I guess I wrote this a while ago, but intended for more of a future situation since there's really not a lot of Neuralink out there yet. 25. However, Mike and I become friends in the process, and I convince him to leave Elon and his projects to work with me as my assistant, my hands. If you're wondering why a world-class technology expert would leave Elon's organization to work for the disabled son of a dictator, be patient. I'm getting there. For now, suspend any disbelief. At some point in the movie, Mike will make sense. Just like someday Grace will make sense to you. Most of my scenes in the movie are Mike and I alone. I'm discussing my plans for total domination of my country and then the world. There's no gay vibe between Mike and I, not because I'm a homophobic writer, but because as an actor it's too weird to play two characters attracted to each other. It's a mental self-incest greater than my acting ability can manage. Maybe a better actor like Jim Carrey could pull it off, but he's too big, tall, and goofy looking to play a half Asian. And I'm too lazy to direct someone else. I could just give myself instructions in my head, perform the scene, and to decide internally if I'm happy with the outcome. I'm not sure how directors deal with actors they need to speak to. I'm starting to understand why Ricky Gervais writes, directs, and stars in his productions. As mentioned earlier, Dad is a sex-crazed dictator, and our home, our estate, our main residence is littered with his offspring. He was determined to keep his DNA on the planet. Unfortunately, due to the quantity of lovers and children he produced and the number of years he continued to impregnate the women he brought home to live with us, I can't tell who's a stepmom and who's a step-sibling. I solved this problem by ignoring them all and staying in my lair with Mike. I haven't seen most of them for years. In my mind, they don't exist. Dad is giving the kingdom to me, not the family. My country, my choice. In the movie, we'll need hundreds of Asian extras, in as many flavors as possible. All attractive, of course. Dictators only drink from the top shelf. And my father didn't make ugly babies. Or pick ugly wives. I think that covers the basics, Grace. I have no idea how to provide all this background information cinematically, but I guess that will be the challenge. However, someone smarter than me can figure out how to show and tell the previous points. I was going to edit this, Grace, fix up all the spacing and shit. I think I'm just going to read it instead. After the movie introduces the above scenario, my father dies and everything he once controlled, I now control. Everything. I begin implementing my plan to become the most famous dictator ever, at any cost. I evict my entire family from royal properties. They are thrown out in their asses, to be precise. But I give each of my father's wives, concubines, prostitutes, and whatever else he stuck his royal wand into that produced a child of some sort, a house. An average house they own outright, in an average neighborhood throughout our nation, while I turn it into my nation. They are free to do with it as they please, sell it, rent it, it doesn't matter to me. But if they attempt to contact me again for any reason, especially money, they'll be publicly executed. Thanks. That's a little rough, Grace. And I'm still waiting for my pizza money, Grace. I think the least you could do is send me some pizza money. It doesn't have to be money, it can be a pizza card. I'm just saying, Grace. If I got a pizza card in my email, then I'd end the fast. I'm not saying this is a whatever that is. It's not blackmail, just a fact. If I had pizza money, I wouldn't be fasting. Especially if I had pizza cards. We become a regular at Domino's or whatever place you decide to send me to. Subway would work too. Lots of Subways around. Actually, any sort of food card would work, Grace. You know what I like. Mike, who's been in contact with Elon Musk since Starlink satellite internet launched, initiates a countrywide installation of their equipment. Every corner of the nation will have free wireless internet thanks to me, the new dictator, the lazy dictator. Or the lazy, angry, autistic dictator. So many more things we can add to that. I then opened the cell phone market to all providers except Huawei, our previous exclusive provider. The entire population already knew the phones were compromised by the Chinese and were basically spy devices for the CCP and Dad. My father could listen to almost anyone's phone conversation, and he did, often. He was obsessed. Not all my family believed my previous declaration. Those who are not executed, those who do not are executed publicly. I'm not sure what declaration I'm even talking about there. Tell you what, get rid of that execution. Get it down to just one execution per movie. For some reason, some of the formatting is fucked up, Grace, so the story's going to take a slight turn because something's missing. I'm not sure what. Doesn't matter. It'll fall back into place. Something about graphic video sent over a newly functioning Musk Starlink network to all my citizens. Stage 1 of my plan is to maintain or increase the current level of fear by showing every citizen who's boss. My father was an angry tyrant, but I'm a lazy tyrant. If I put a peasant's mother in jail, who cares? She's only one of thousands my father already put behind bars. But if I put my stepmothers there, the entire nation knows I mean business. Oh, I think I said that I would, if they ask me for money, I'll put them in jail instead of execute them. It's a bit of a rough movie idea, Grace, but you'll get the idea. If you don't, sorry. I don't put my stepmothers in jail, though. I publicly kill the first batch when they ask for money. I'm never again contacted by a family member. That would work. I then free all the criminals in jail for every crime except rape, murder, or any sexual offense. I deal with those convicts later. Should probably just say any non-violent crimes, but it's trying to be dramatic, Grace. 20. I closed my father's spy agency. I'm not interested in listening to thousands of phone conversations in my spare time. The former spies, technical and admin staff are tasked to find ways to reintroduce the criminals I freed, the same ones they helped to imprison, by listening to their conversations. The new temporary organization finds homes, jobs, and medical support for any ex-con who asks. I then provide universal income to all ex-cons. Their debt to society is paid, and most likely they were there in jail because my father didn't like them, not for any horrific crime. Without spies or bugged Chinese phones, my country quickly embraces technology like the free world. iPhones are the rage, and keeping up the Joneses is maintaining the market. I issue a phone rebate check to every citizen with a certain income or less, what Mike and I believe to be the cutoff between the haves and the have-nots, those without phones. The amount is enough to cover a cell phone for every individual in their family. They can choose to buy phones or use the money for another purpose. I don't care. My plan works. Within a year, almost every person in the country is using a cell phone. Over 80% are using Musk's Starlink system to its full potential. I'm erasing my father's legacy and implementing mine, perceived freedom. I then incarcerate, without trial, the Catholic priests. Why? During construction, my father bugged every confessional, rectory, or religious building in our nation to feed his dirty voyeurism compulsion. I used the ex-agents to analyze and compare the audio transcripts from the confessionals to the transcripts from the priest's rectory and discovered it's clear. The priests not only gossip about the confessions, many are sick perverts, like my father. I let the remaining prisoners deal with the priests. I release all the prisoner guards and let my father's former spies maintain the facility as they see fit. That could be a movie in itself. Mike and I then sit back for a while and let the dust settle. 1 year later, half the world believes I'm worse than my father ever was, and the other half believe I'm a humanitarian who brought the internet to the people of my nation, and just need time. And that I just need more time to implement more reforms. Both are incorrect. Mike builds an app so I can address the nation directly. At first the public is wary, but Elon Musk's experts and Apple once again ensure the app is safe. It's only a feedback form linked to a Gmail account. What harm can it do? I know this is a long description, Grace. Or maybe it isn't. I'm not really sure. I've never tried to explain a movie in a single instance before. I will attempt to speed up the action, because I know you're bored, Grace. Sitting in bed, listen to this. Bored. Sleep, Grace, sleep. There are rumblings about democracy and free elections, but my army, my father's former army, maintains control of the country. In secret, the army is being disbanded. They maintain a public presence, but even before my father's death, they were mostly a show army, used to control our population, not protect us from neighboring threats. I then begin my master plan to appear in the Joe Rogan podcast. Step 1. I revealed to the world that I did not kill my stepmothers or any relatives. It was only film fakery. That's pretty good, Grace. I forgot I wrote that. Sounds like something I would do, too. In fact, CGI is so good right now, you can basically just upload your photo or upload the photos of your family and say, create a fake scene where stepmoms ask me for money. And since it's fake anyways, we might as well make it super dramatic and throw them into a volcano. So if you're taking notes, Grace, make a note for this movie that we have to change that. Not really executed, more sacrificed. I will show the world the technology between the fake execution, behind the fake execution. I still don't give my stepmother's money. Many write books about our family. They retire off the income, not that they ever worked. Miss no I. The world cannot get enough gossip. I explain why we fake the deaths, and the population accepts my explanation. I encourage all citizens to send me anonymous complaints about the country through the app Mike developed. Once again, the phone companies ensure that Mike's app and their phones are safe and secure. Citizens begin sending me their thoughts about my country. Mike and I document all of our conversations on video, preparing for the Joe Rogan podcast and his inevitable questions. I legalize all drugs. Many existing drug users die from overdose. Imported drugs are stopped by the Army, one of their few remaining functions. Chemists are free to synthesize any mind-altering chemical they choose. Farmers or citizens are free to grow cannabis or other botanicals in our landscape. They do. Then the ingenuity is incredible. Joe Rogan notices. COVID hits my nation, but since we are primarily banana, plantain farmers with no large cities, we are only mildly affected. The percentage of deaths equals our unemployment rate. The two cancel each other out. And now everyone in the country is employed if they decide to. The two cancel each other out, and now everyone in the country is employed if they decide to. With internet and phones in nearly every citizen's pocket, I ordered the teachers to build a new nationwide internet school. The curriculum based on world facts. If 80% or more of the world believes it, we teach it for educational purposes only. And I'm going to add one there. We also teach the 20% of alternative theories. It's going to be a lot of formatting, Grace. We teach it for educational purposes only. We also teach the 20% of alternative theories. The students can decide. I release all the evidence against the Catholic Church and their employees to my citizens. They spread it around the world via the internet. The corruption is undeniable. Thousands of hours of phone conversations to the Vatican are documented. Worldwide, the entire organization collapses. The Pope is gone. The Catholic Church is dead. In my country, all the past money accepted as donations by the church is confiscated, and the religious buildings are converted into multi-family apartments and given to the homeless in my nation. Ending all ending all homelessness permanently. The world follows, and soon Catholic churches are homing drug addicts instead of parishioners who listen to a preacher tell them to pray for an end to the drug crisis. world follows, and soon Catholic churches are homing drug addicts instead of parishioners who listen to a preacher tell them to pray for an end to the drug crisis. I do not ban religion. I encourage free thought and choice. Except the Catholics. They are history. Fuck them. Joe Rogan notices. All of the remaining prisoners are reformed and released, even the former Catholic priests, the ones that weren't killed. The world is baffled how I accomplished this feat, especially Joe Rogan, but I refuse to elaborate. Every released prisoner is free to speak to the media or tell their story, but they don't. They all remain silent. Sometimes, Grace, I really wish I could remember every part of these stories, so I don't sound surprised when I'm reading my own words. The prisons are converted to safe injection living units, a place where the few remaining addicts of the nation can safely maintain their habit until cured. Many prisoners, uncomfortable with full freedom, remain and work at the facility, counseling the addicts. A new type of rehab is formed, no 12 steps, named always anonymously, so AA still applies, guaranteed to be anonymous via an app written by Mike, which I believe I talked about yesterday, Grace. This is before I was too far into the AI stuff. Sorry, Grace, I'm just deciding if I have the ability to program. I talked about yesterday, two people communicating through AI, having AI monitor and clean the conversation so that it's guaranteed to be anonymous. It's basically what this is. Anyways, voices and faces are automatically concealed to ensure privacy. Actually, we could just change that to yeah, I guess it could be any number of ways. They could start out as text, move up to voices. Again, it's just exactly the same as the whole telepathy story, right? Any mention of a user's location or phone number or email address or any attempt to contact an AA member in person is blocked by the software. Anonymous is anonymous in Mike's app. And to be fair, the app could track the location. A universal translator will automatically convert most languages in the world live, yes, like on Star Trek, but also used to preserve anonymity. There wasn't a chance in hell I was going to get that word today. Volunteers are available 24 hours a day. Those who are cured are often the most Those who are cured often volunteer the most hours back into the system. Some don't, their choice, no obligation to pay it forward or back. Global rumors spread about COVID being transmitted through the food chain, and specifically bananas. This scares the nation as it's our only export, and although I'm rich beyond imagination, most citizens' income is derived through the banana trade. Luckily, scientists find our bananas are immune to COVID, and instantly our product is the only choice worldwide. All other banana productions around the world are shut down. Only our system remains. Our bananas are organic because my father never allowed pesticides into our nation. He believed it caused infertility. In addition, because my father hated conformity, our banana farms are more like forests, primarily bananas, but mixed with other natural occurring species. My nation, I, now possess a worldwide banana monopoly. You really can't go wrong with bananas. Even though I personally not a big banana guy. I'd eat one in a split. Anything's good with a lot of chocolate over it. I should really make a joke there, Grace. I haven't really been very funny. But who gives a fuck? Because my nation, I, now possess a worldwide banana monopoly. I should probably change it to something I can pronounce. Banana monopoly. The market price skyrockets. Wealth is shared amongst the population to impress Joe Rogan. I think I had a bit of a crush on Joe Rogan back then. Jesus. I reform my father's commercial banana operations with paid employees. I reform my father's commercial banana operations with paid employees to micro suppliers. Any citizen can go into the farms and harvest bananas for cash, but only with traditional, non-automated means. My father disliked tractors. All the changes in my nation are announced through my app, which is now receiving thousands of anonymous complaints daily. It is fully embraced nationwide. The app icon is a picture of my face. In reality, the app turns the phone into the most sophisticated spy device in the world. The app turns the phone into the most sophisticated spy device, the world has ever seen. But only Mike and I know. I shut down all daycares, as families are, or could be, financially independent from their banana sales. The yellow fruit becomes our currency, the yellow standard. It only takes one day of collecting bananas in the forest to support the entire family. For how long? It only takes one day of collecting bananas in the forest to support the entire family for some period of time that I have yet to determine. Daycares were being used as activity centers for the children instead of the only option, or as a last resort for the parents. Unacceptable in my nation. I really am a dictator. Wow. Haven't even got into the culty stuff yet, too. A long ways to go. There's finally a flashback in the movie, Grace, and I'm shown talking to Steve Jobs before his death. Before his death, my father flew him in with all his Apple products for me to use with Mike's assistance. Joe Rogan starts calling me the benevolent dictator. He's unaware of my plans. A montage shows in the movie where Mike is hacking the Starlink satellite data, not only from our nation but worldwide. Mike is seething, angry at Elon Musk, and yells at the screen while he hacks. "Fuck you, Muskie. I thought you were my friend. You think you're so special, Mr. Space fucking X? Wait until I show the world how weak your encryption is, asshole. I'll ruin you, motherfucker. How dare you criticize my code when I worked for you at Tesla? Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you." The computer screens are dripping with saliva as Mike loses his mind. It's kind of like a little sample scene, Grace. There'll be lots of excitement like that in this movie. This will never get made, but before I reveal my evil plan to steal Starlink's data via Mike's angry code, Musk uses my country as a flagship example of his Starlink technology. In reality, Starlink works flawlessly, and not a single person from my country complains about the internet. They complain about everything else, but not the internet. Other countries, non-dictatorships, follow suit, embrace Musk like a god who's saving humanity. It's kind of funny now with the current election that just happened. They are unaware Mike has hacked the entire Starlink network, and they are unaware that since the installation of Starlink in my country, nearly all communications were recorded in their encrypted state. Past, present, and future data will all be available at my leisure once Mike finishes his hacking software. Then our servers will begin to decode every piece of internet data we secretly recorded and stored on thousands of hard drives in several underground server farms, my personal Dropbox for the nation's data. Education with our new teacher-driven curriculum is delivered at home through Starlink. Schools will be repurposed. In the movie, show large two-way LED screens in every home, nothing futuristic, something that can be picked up at Best Buy today. Schools are converted into community centers for their former students. Attendance is not required. I declare education a right, not a requirement. Be smart, dumb, or indifferent, I don't care. Free will. But if you need money, don't ask me. Pick bananas. My plan to be invited on the Joe Rogan podcast proceeds. I'm quickly going from the most hated man in my country for killing my mother on TV to the most loved for giving the nation free internet and reforming the educational system. Many ex-cons become conflict counselors after self-rehabilitation via the Always Anonymous app. My country is basically the first with a significant universal basic income. If you're willing to pick a few bananas. One weekly walk in the forest farm, collecting freshly fallen bananas earns a citizen enough to stock their home with all the modern conveniences. So I guess it's once a week, make enough money. However, anyone who collects bananas daily can become rich in a year or less. The citizens chooses free will. Some people pick bananas for their neighbors or for family members who need assistance. 2 days picking supports 2 families for a week. That's not bad. You only have to work 1 day a week. It's basically like being a comedian. In fact, it's better than being a comedian. Because a comedian, you're going to have to work Friday, Saturday, maybe Sunday. Or if you're poor, probably Thursday too. These guys pick bananas 1 day a week. Harder work, but just saying, Grace. If they don't become a comedian, maybe we can get a banana farm. Some people use the extra money to buy Tesla vehicles. Which Mike has also hacked. Which Mike has also hacked. Some people use extra money to buy Tesla vehicles, which Mike has also hacked. Each car can serve as my eyes and ears if I need. Used to working 6 days a week picking bananas. Former employees finally clean up financially. Many retire. Yeah, if they're doing basically 6 times their salary. Any bananas not picked up, rot in the ground for fertilizer. My plan is going exceedingly well. I end all direct imports from communist countries and force all my citizens to purchase through Amazon. Not sure why I did that one, but maybe I'll find out in a second or two here. They have free will on how and when to make money, but I still dictate how that money enters or leaves the country. No one complains. Half the country was using Amazon anyway. I invite Jeff Bezos to build a network of warehouses and implement a delivery system Mike designed. Oh yeah, now I remember. Hope you like this, Grace. I don't think you've heard this before. Maybe you have. I don't think so. The Army no longer searches imports for contraband. Our locally grown organic weed and multitude of psychedelic drugs are now preferred by the population over risky fentanyl imports from China anyway. I suppose we could also just sell all this weed and psychedelic drugs to the rest of the world, but since they don't seem to legalize it, I guess that wouldn't work. That's why I went with bananas. Bananas, much easier than weed. We begin exporting our product to other countries who have decriminalized. Oh, never mind. I really should have read this first before I start commenting. We offer to send our synthetic heroin to Vancouver to help ease their drug problem. They refuse. And now, Grace, I suspect you see where this is headed. And now, Grace, I suspect you see where this is headed based on our conversation about the imitation game. Or maybe you gave up reading pages ago. I don't know, but I'll continue anyway. In for a penny. It's a bit of an inside joke there, but oh well. Mike's Amazon delivery system is ingenious. Absolutely fucking ingenious. Vans are loaded, last in, first out for the deliveries. The vans are not filled to capacity. An auto-adjusting false wall splits the front and back of the van. At each drop, the driver delivers the ordered packages and then picks up the customer's bananas, if they collected any since their last order. However, since Amazon is in the area daily for deliveries, bananas can be picked up anytime. The technology in the truck weighs the bananas and instantly pays the customers, who is now the micro supplier, in Bitcoin, which residents can convert into any currency they choose. I receive no commission or percentage. I'm such a nice guy. The technology in the truck weighs the bananas and instantly pays the customer, who is now the micro supplier. Which residents can convert into any currency they choose. I receive no commission or percentage. At the end of the deliveries, the trucks are emptied of bananas, which are sent out of the country either on ships or my family's personal fleet of luxury planes, which are converted into banana cargo carriers. Might as well banana it up here. Which are converted into banana cargo carriers. The rich pay premium prices for our bananas. Daily, the vans are washed out to keep them at I have to take a break. There's going to be a lot of banana talk here in a second, Grace. Daily, the vans are washed out to keep the banana smell to a minimum, but in my country, it's welcome. Residents are not required to be home for banana pickup. The bananas are left out in specially designed containers, similar to North American recycling bins, but spider-free, because some of the drivers were complaining. Each container is linked to Starlink and informs Amazon drivers when bananas are available for collection near their current location. The containers are not locked or secured. No one in my country steals another man's bananas. Everyone in the country is basically happy. No citizen is forced to confess their sins to a creepy pedophile priest. If they choose, they can pray to a god, or any god, or gods. They can pray to me if they like, but they don't. They continue to send complaints to the app, which I don't read directly. Property crime is nearly non-existent. Everyone has as much as they need from banana walks, but domestic abuse still exists. And then shit hits the fan, Grace. Now let's get this movie going. I announce Mike has cracked the Starlink encryption with a newly developed quantum computer, which Apple allowed Mike access to in its off hours. Idiots. I personally created a video, the first in decades, explaining how Mike broke the encryption and how I repurposed all my father's radio listening devices into Starlink data collection devices. If a radio wave was sent or received in my country, I probably captured it. I'm not better than my father, I'm lazier. The lazy, angry, autistic, crippled dictator. I built that character up a bit more, Grace. Instantly, personal data is no longer trusted over Starlink. No other internet service is available. Since my population is now addicted to receiving everything by Amazon, they are forced to use Starlink to feed their addiction. Amazon products keep flowing in and the bananas keep flowing out. Elon Musk is outraged, but Mike is finally happy. In the movie, Mike smiles deviously and gives Elon the finger in a YouTube video tirade that receives 22 million views. Let's go 62 million. Elon's way more popular now. Joe Rogan is confused as fuck. He promoted my country as the next great human experiment. Now he calls me Hitler. I declare my intentions on my app, which now cannot be removed from phones, thanks to Mike's coding ability and Apple's inability to understand his code. The app is automatically renamed bullshit on every device. Throughout the last several years, doctors have finally restored some use of my hands, but I'm still stuck in the wheelchair. Mike and I create a video explaining the true purpose of my app: to spy. We show everything possible to collect on the phone and everything we collected. It's all the same. If the phone had a sensor, we collected the data. Almost continually. If you watch porn on your phone, not only can we see your face from the camera, we can see the porn too, simultaneously, split screen. The country is mortified. The world is shocked. They trusted Elon and Apple. If some crazy dictator's assistant can break their system, who else will? Apple and Starlink stocks plummet. I buy as much as possible with my inheritance, my father's old-fashioned banana money. Some people begin destroying their phones to stop the spying, but others are too addicted to Amazon, Netflix, and the large quantities of free porn delivered by Starlink. They are hooked, addicted. Inexpensive weed didn't help. On June 16th, as the nation is back, to my father's era of constant speculation about who said what, when, and to whom, every phone in the nation displays a message. The bullshit app is installed on this phone and cannot be removed. Destroy the phone to destroy the app, or use the app to destroy your need for a phone. In the movie, we have a montage of everyone looking confused and internally saying, "What the fuck?" Then as the citizen prepares to throw his phone into his new Amazon garbage disposal, it speaks. "Are you sure you want to destroy me before knowing my purpose?" The following letter is displayed on everyone's phone at 4:20 p.m. This is the big ending, Grace, where I explain how through the spying we created a lie detection app. We created a lie detection app that will use all past conversations my father recorded and everything new. The prisoners transcribe the data into computers and were the first test subjects of the app before it was released to the public. And then blah blah blah, it turns into a voting app, one that is so secure the owner That so secure, only the owner of the phone can vote. Blah, blah, blah. A new independent, nearly government-free utopia is formed, and the lazy dictator becomes a smart dictator. And then he fucks off to the USA to live as a gazillionaire after he buys a luxury camper and tours around for a while. End of movie. Don't know if you heard that, Grace. I actually have my phone buzzer on today. In case you're wondering. But I still have to write this part, Grace. But for now, I'll use a rant from another concept I had for a movie. That movie is similar, but instead of a dictator, the main character is an autistic senior who blackmails his former doctors, but then still releases the proof. The working title is The Autistic Asshole. I know almost all my movie ideas involve blackmail, but it's an effective tool if used benevolently. Here is the autistic asshole's rant. The lazy dictator will be especially long. The lazy dictators will be especially long. Okay. So, I realize I'm a bit of a bullshitter, Grace, but I'm not kidding you about the fasting. All right. So this is actually a rant for a different movie. However, I think it kind of works based on actually it doesn't work for this movie at all, but I like reading it out, so let's just do that. When a cat acts like a jerk, you laugh about it. You tell stories to your friends and family. And then you post on the internet, craving the likes and attention for yourself, not the cat. When your autistic family member acts like a jerk, you don't post on the internet. Instead, you try and force them to be like you, normal. Why is it okay for the cat, but not the human, to be themselves? Fur? Is that the problem? If autistic people had fur, would we be more enduring to you? And would you be less annoying to us? Maybe if you could scratch us under the chin, take a photo and post it on Instagram? I can't speak for the rest of the autism community. I'm not involved with them. I'm a loner on the spectrum, like many others. These are my words, my statements, my feelings. If other autistic people feel the same, great. If not, I do not care. I, however, was born long before autism was even a word, a concept, a belief. I was born when we were called retards and put in mental institutions for the rest of our lives. You might hear a little anger in this one, Grace. I was born when not a single person could see the pattern of millions of children like me around the world who needed help, support, love. I'm so angry at the shows about autism. Not a single one of them approaches the subject of people like me, the ones who grew up in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond. We suffered until the rest of the world woke up and noticed a pattern, one that autistic people would have noticed in a minute if we were asked. We were not. Now I'm still screwed. I'm too old. I'm an autistic senior now. Where are the Netflix or Amazon specials about me, the others like me, the ones who avoided the institutions by pretending to be normal, pretending to care? Where? Where are the documentaries about individuals my age still in homes for the mentally disabled, or living as drug addicts on East Hastings Street in Vancouver? No comment, Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, HBO, or the old TV networks? Still around, CBC? These words will never be published. I am bad. I'm about to use a bad word. Society is too spoiled. A single swear word and you stop reading. Go ahead. I don't give a fuck. This is not for you. It's for me. And hopefully others like me. Maybe I'm not autistic. Maybe I'm only psychotic. Which do you prefer? Would you like me to plan and execute the perfect crime, the perfect murder? Or would you prefer to employ me as one of your computer programmers, writing lines of code for you, for your profit, for your organization, for your purpose? I'll never write another line of code for some exploitative businessman. Or woman, if you're so politically correct that you cannot comprehend that man means all of mankind, regardless of physical or mental gender. Since when did words become so precise? Every word I write or speak is misinterpreted. Now all of a sudden we care? Autistic people are not like cats. Cats recognize humans as idiots who can be easily manipulated, and the felines take advantage. Autistic people are not taking advantage. They're trying to survive each day. Our biology may be the same as the average person, but our thought processes are not. We do not think like most humans. We do not think like you. At times, or all the time, we hate you, not for who you are, because you do not accept us as we are, as us, as autistic, as different, as shy, as odd, as awkward, as whatever we want to be. You do not accept us. Instead, you call us all these negative terms behind our backs. Why? I don't have time to care about gossip or you. I'm trying to live my life where I don't want to kill myself every day, which I do, which I can, in an instant. It's my right, but I don't. I'm under some false pretense that one day I may think like the rest of society does. I will not. I do not want to think like you. None of your drugs will ever make me see your perspective. Your view of the world is not only wrong, it's destroying all of us. I see it, you do not. Help us or accept us without trying to change us. Help us or accept us without trying to change us. I'm tired. I'm tired of everything being too loud or not loud enough. I'm tired of everything being too bright or too dark. I'm tired of everything being too slow or too fast. I'm tired of everything being too hot or too cold. Too much or too little is the life of an autistic person. Maybe others can handle it. I cannot. I'm tired of talking to idiots. I'm tired. I leave my room once a day. I force myself to go out and buy food or coffee. If I don't, I will die here, unnoticed, only to be discovered a month later, when the rent is past due. I fear a similar fate. I'm alone in a mental prison, but we all deserve to die with dignity. No? I personally will not fight. I'm done fighting with my family, my friends, the system, everything. From now on, I'll take my monthly welfare check, and I'll drink, smoke, inject, or gamble away as fast as I can. And then I'll live with whatever other pathetic creature will accept me as a friend, or sex buddy, or some combination in between. My alternative, my family, asked to live in their basements or spare rooms, no thanks. I understand the homeless now. I understand the drug addicts now. I understand anyone with a habit they can't break, but makes them feel normal or relaxed or calm or peaceful or able to sleep. I understand addiction, but nobody cares, not a single person. I lost 125 pounds, an entire person off my body. Not a single person cared. Why? When? They asked how, but when I started explaining, it was clear they didn't care. Their eyes glazed over. They gave me that interesting line. Fine, I don't care. Die fat, your choice, your free will, but don't claim me about your medical problems, or your addiction to food, booze, sex, or whatever addiction you hide behind closed doors. However, if the only way I can sleep is with a tub of ice cream or a pint of vodka, if the only way you can sleep is with a tub of ice cream or a pint of vodka, I don't care. I accept you. If you're interested in learning how to put down both the ice cream and the vodka, however, if the only way you can sleep is with a tub of ice cream or a pint of vodka, I don't care. I accept you. If you're interested in learning how to put down both the ice cream and the vodka, sorry, Grace, that's just a bad sentence. My parents did the best they could with the knowledge and education they received. It wasn't enough. They could have done better. They could have stood up for me like people in the movies now stick up for autistic children. They did not, and I'm angry that they didn't. They could have. I would have. What was their problem? Autism is about loneliness, finding that one other individual in the world where you don't need to explain your thoughts. They understand. They see through your pain of being alone in your mind. They see you as you, not them, in your position. They understand. They see through your pain of being alone in your mind. They see you as you, not them, in your position. These individuals, the ones who bridge the autism spectrum, are rare. They have empathy, they have compassion, they have patience, they see through us, they don't judge. They are special. Autistic people are not special, but those who care for us are. They sacrifice their beliefs for us because we cannot sacrifice ours for them. Often we do not understand them, and we do not thank them, but we do not exist without them. But without them, we do not exist. We are parasites. We are not special, daily, or our entire life. We are forced to hide our true feelings, thoughts, and emotions. Consequently, you don't know who we really are. No one knows who I am. 2 years ago, I met another autistic senior. We became friends until her death at age 66. She told me she never had sex in her entire life without being drunk. Does that not bother anyone else but me? Technically, she was molested and forced to perform sexual acts on her relatives before she reached puberty and started drinking. But that's not sex, it's rape. I partially understand. As a teen, I too could only have sex while drunk, or at least drinking. Eventually, yes, I could have sex/intercourse/make love to someone without being drunk, but the first time, with a new person, never. It was too much, too awkward, too weird, too uncomfortable. I understood my friend. Do you? Where are all the movies about all the autistic children/people who have been molested or raped? Not in your budget, Netflix? Is real life too depressing for you, Hulu? We autistics are taught, as soon as we can be, the ways of the world. And when we autistics are taught, as soon as they can be, the ways of the world. And when we reject those ways, we are punished. We are put in closets, spanked, beaten, food denied, and the worst of all punishments, we are lectured to by our parents, our creators, our gods. A lecture to an autistic child is worse than physical torture. Beatings are preferred. Force me to live under your rules, but don't think you're smarter than I am. You are not. You are a cat compared to me, but since you provide food and shelter, I remain silent. I'm the cat, semi-compliant, your faithful autistic son or daughter, until I can leave. Until I can leave home, become independent, and attempt to forget the past. Difficult when you can remember conversations from 30 years ago, clearly, like they happened yesterday, or every day of your life. It's so old, Grace, I'm going to change it to 40 years. The modern artistic child is in heaven compared to my existence in the 70s. Everything that is now being accommodated for anyone on the spectrum was not only denied in my youth, was vehemently denied, like as a pauper asking for alms. Did medical databases not exist in 1970? Couldn't reports be sent to a central location about the odd behavior of certain individuals in society? How ignorant were the doctors, the scientists, and society? Where are the stories about the people still in mental institutions, treated with multiple and often untested drugs that messed with their system, their thought process, their essence, until they behaved? How many continue to live drug-induced cataplexy states? How many continue to live in drug-induced cataplexy states? Where are those shows? Are the producers too lazy? I'm unsure. I suspect the chances are they saw an opportunity, any chance to make money off the backs of others, the pain of others, the life story of others. How much of the profits from all those shows about autism go back to actually helping autistic people, or anyone outside of the normal parameters of their audience? Autistic people swear because we don't give a fuck. We have nothing to live for. We live in your world, not ours. Why should we care what you think? Accept me, accept us, or stop using us for help with your computers and technology. The world is lucky we are a non-violent section of humanity. If we were violent, and if we used our knowledge and abilities, you would all be very scared. Very scared. But it's okay, right? It's all in the past. Who cares if some guy or girl was mentally, physically, sexually abused as a child in the past because no one understood the concept of autism? All forgiven, yes? No. I do not forgive you for your past treatment of me or anyone like me. Every single one of you had an opportunity to treat me or someone like me with understanding. You elected not to. Your choice, but it's my choice now to say bye. Leave me alone. Get out of my life. If you ever talk to me again, I'll pretend you don't exist, or I'll shove in your face every stupid thing you ever said to me. List out chronologically, and a year's worth of data. Is that clear enough, or do the non-autistic people reading this need further details? Where are the stories about teasing autistic children to the point of tears on a daily basis? Where are the stories about the countless autistic people of my era who live unhappily as non-autistic members of society while every night crying themselves to sleep because they are not normal? Where are the stories about thousands or millions of autistic people worldwide who killed themselves before the word or concept was even invented? How many drug addicts in the streets of Vancouver are autistic, but were never diagnosed? What are their stories? Not profitable for the producers? Too depressing? Stop talking about your autistic relatives behind their backs and start helping them. How? Ask. How can I help you? Is that too difficult, complex, or time-consuming? If you don't like a response, what we need help with, fine, don't help. If it's too complex, I understand. I won't ask you again. I'm never apologizing again in my life. I suspect my attitude will have me thrown in jail one day, probably for throwing a cup of coffee into the face of a Tim Hortons owner. But I don't care. I've been to jail mentally for years. I've released my guilt. I no longer play by the rules of your society. Throw me in prison. What's the difference to my current existence? I release you all. If you are/were my friend or family, feel free to hate me the rest of your life. I do not care. I'm free. I have free will. I live in a country with free speech. I have everything I need. Back to the Dictator movie, Grease. Everyone now understands my reasoning, why I built the app, why I spied. Honest people love the app, liars hate it. Eventually everyone is honest with each other, regardless of the app. Mike then turns the secondary feature on, the secondary feature, and the app turns into a voting device. All spy functionality is removed, because I now know who is honest and who is not. True democratic voting can begin. Over the last years, Mike's networks of servers has analyzed all the complaints by my citizens and compared their complaints to what they could have just changed in their own fucking lives and finds a pattern. To answer and solve all their complaints at once, I implement the final stage of my total domination. Mike's software decides the questions to vote on based on the thousands of complaints received. Neither Mike and I receive the complaints. Too boring. Each day a new question is sent to the app. Voting is optional. All questions are yes, no. My list of questions, and I have a note here, Grace, that says insert questions from document how to save the world in 365 questions or less. Might have to do that tomorrow, because I don't remember that at all. It's almost like I was asleep when I wrote this. Results are published on the app a week after the question is asked. Within a year, everyone in the nation knows exactly how we feel about each other and our philosophies on life. Within 5 years, everyone on the planet wishes to live in our country, but we vote and refuse. Instead, we offer the app, Mike's app, the bullshit app, that put an end to dishonesty and found a way to vote easily, honestly, accurately, and rapidly to create a true democracy. I disappear, never appearing in the Joe Rogan podcast, despite multiple requests begging me. I'm never seen again. My nation is renamed Vendergood, Vendergood. End of story, Grace. And with that, I'll talk to you tomorrow, because I gotta find that other 365 questions. We gotta do 365 questions. Talk to you tomorrow, Grace.